Hey everyone, my name is Lucas and I just shot my first wedding last weekend, and so I thought I'd share with you some of the things I learned, the top 10 tips I've learned. There's a lot more to learn, but here's 10 of them. Okay, number one, do a lot of research. Do what you're doing right now. Watch this video. Go and look at all of the blogs. There's so many great wedding photographers out there right now that have great blogs and show their photos and see what makes them successful. And so inundate yourself with that information. And number two is poses. And that goes along with number one is see and find poses that you like, because when it comes time to do the portrait session and you're stressed out and sweating and nervous, you're going to want to have a couple poses locked in your mind that you know you want to get and fall back on. And that goes into number three. Number three is be positive. When you're posing them and working with them and trying to take pictures of them, always encourage what they're doing. Tell them they look great, because they do. It's their wedding day. They're going to look great. And you're going to be stressed out and probably not getting things dialed in just right. And your natural reaction is in your head is to say in your head, I'm screwing up, this doesn't look good. And that, if you're in a habit of it, that might actually come out of your mouth when you're shooting them, and you don't want that to happen. So a good thing to start practicing is when you totally screw up, say, that looks awesome, and let's try something else. And so that if you're in the habit, if you're doing self-portraits now, testing, trying to figure out your camera, you're probably in the habit of saying to yourself, oh, this doesn't look good. Well, you don't want that to accidentally come out when you're shooting this couple. So stay positive, say positive things even when you're screwing up. The beauty of photographing them is that unless you show them the back of your camera, they don't know what it looked like. So when you tell them it looks great, that's what they think, and they're going to get more comfortable with you, and you're going to get a great response from them. Number four, practice a lot. My first wedding was outside, and so just in turning, in my 180 degrees view, there were a lot of different exposures. And so when you're shooting and you're trying to get your camera dialed in and capture those moments, you've got to be really dialed into your camera. So I would suggest going outside and practicing on a day like today. Over here is a lot brighter than the shade, and so practicing just quickly going back and forth, getting your exposures and dialing that in. And so practice a lot, because you don't want to have to be fumbling around with your camera during the ceremony and missing that, because the ceremony only lasts 10-15 minutes and you've got to get 100 good pictures at least, so 200, I don't know. So you don't want to have to be worrying about your camera, so practice now. Number five is shoot a lot. Shoot more than you think you should. Your camera should be pushed up against your face all day. You should constantly be taking photos. There's always something to take a photograph of, or looking to be prepared to take a photograph when something happens. You really need to shoot a lot, because each person that's included in a picture is another pair of eyes that are going to blink. It's another face that is going to have an expression that you may or may not want. So each person that you add to a photograph means that's that many more variables that you have got to be taking a ton of pictures of that scenario to capture that one moment that is what you want to get. And so take a ton of photographs, take way more than you think you are going to have to. And that's another good reason for this, I'll talk about later, this battery grip. I would get a vertical grip so you don't have to worry about your batteries, and you can take a ton of photographs. Number six, okay, when you've got a shot, move on. I was, nervous on the first wedding I did this last weekend, and I overshot a lot of scenarios, a lot of situations, because I wanted to make sure I got the expression I wanted and I got the exposure right. And so I would it's just like beating a dead horse. I would take photographs of this one thing over and over. And so that's something to watch out for, because you are going to be nervous, and you're going to want to make sure you get that shot and do that, but also know when you have it to move on to something else. That goes into number seven. Number seven is get reactions. Don't just shoot the subject. Look around. After you know you've got that shot, look around and get the reactions of people who are who are there in the situation, like the first look or the first dance. You know, see the parents, you know, look around you and get reactions of people as well, because that's going to be a great emotional expression as well from them. This is just a quick tip. Number 8, don't move around so much during the first dance. That's what I was doing. I was trying to get all these different angles and do that maybe a little bit, but just know that when people are dancing, it's something very common that you don't really think about, but they're going to spin around. So I was spinning with them and got the same angle a bunch of times. So if you stay in one spot, they're going to spin around and they're going to give you a bunch of different perspectives on them. So just think about that. Okay, number 9, this is a little more technical one. The back button focus. I didn't use it at all during my wedding, but I would suggest you start practicing with it now, because what's going to happen is, especially if you have a vertical grip, which the cheaper vertical grip, the shutter button is a little more sensitive. So when you go to focus your subject and then recompose, you might accidentally hit the shutter button while you're focusing and give them a ton of headroom. And so if you use the back button focus on your camera, you can focus first without having to worry about hitting the shutter button and prematurely taking a picture. So I would start practicing with that. It's not so important with landscape shots, but definitely with portraits, because you can get their head right in the middle of the photograph where your focus might be. So just think about that and practice, because it's something, you know, 5 hours into shooting a wedding, you're also going to get tired, and so you can't accurately push the shutter button halfway down very sensitively when you get really tired and your arm is tired and you're stressed out. So think about using the back button focus in your wedding. Number 10, the last one, I would suggest to open your composition up a little bit. Don't frame things incredibly tight, especially if you're in an outdoor wedding, because you aren't going to get the horizon perfectly straight in every photograph. I mean, there's times when you don't want it straight, obviously, but a lot of times you are, and so open up your composition a little bit. Don't get so tight on them, because the horizon's going to be off just a little bit and it's going to annoy you later. And if you framed it really tight, then you can't rotate it and crop it. Another thing, of course, is then if you open it up a little bit, it gives you more room to crop later on. If there's something distracting in the image that you want to crop out, it'll give you more room to move around. Okay, 2 quick real things equipment-wise that I wanted to talk about before I end the video. Those were the top 10 tips, and here are 2 more extra ones for you about equipment. Get a vertical grip. Luis Torres talks about it in one of his podcasts. You can get in the description of this video and at my website. There's a link to it, but he talks about it, and it sounds silly, but people look to you and think big camera equals good photographer. And so at some point you got to kind of play into that, and it'll give you the confidence, and it'll give your audience the confidence to know that you are the photographer, because there's going to be other people there with you know, a 5D Mark II who's Uncle Bob or Aunt Jane, and they're probably not going to have a vertical grip. So it's just going to step you up that much more, and it is very nice. I didn't change batteries, I think, the whole day, and I took 3,000 photographs. So it is a very nice addition. The other thing, of course, is this rapid strap. It will save your neck, and it is very nice that it doesn't get caught and move around very much. I would highly recommend this, especially combined with this. Again, Luis Torres talks about it. Go check out his podcasts for weddingphotographers.com. But I would highly suggest these 2 pieces of gear for your first wedding. It will make you stand out, give people confidence in your ability, and you'll be more comfortable. All right, that's the top 10 tips I have for first-time wedding photographers. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and also check out my website, lucasridley.com, and let me know you enjoyed this and you want to see more of it, and I'll try to do that. And good luck to you in your first wedding, and let me know how it goes. Good luck.